Secondly, who's been doing this, has been the embodiment of the spirit that I just mentioned all his life. Every day I still discover new initiatives and organizations that were either created by him or inspired by him. So, ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Professor Muhammad Yunus. Sir.
Thank you. Well, delighted to be here with you. It's a wonderful experience coming to COP29, meeting you from many different countries together. My first question to you would be, what will the world be in 10 years from now? You can make a guess. In 10 years, nothing much will change. What will it be 25 years later? That's another question at a distance. My age is 84. So by the time you become 84, guess how many years that is? What would be the world like? What would you be doing then? Can you make a guess? Anybody? Try to survive. This is it. You're not sure whether we survive or not. In just one lifetime. So we are that close. It's not talking about next generation or something. Your life. What would be like? If we continue whatever we're doing in that spirit, and the changes that will happen during this period, all included, still you cannot project a safe life when you will be in. So that's the whole issue right now. So this is one way of looking at the future. Another way of looking at future is what I did about education system. I said when you take the young people into colleges and schools, they are introduced to the world, what is this like and how did you grow, and they make you believe that this is the way the world will be. I think that's the wrong start to begin with. The first thing the young people at college, in high school, seniors, will be tasked, what kind of world you want? That will be the question. And everybody will be given a task, what kind of world you want. Because very important. Once you want something, only then you activate yourself to make it happen. You have to dream. If you want to dream about your life, what should the world be like when I'm 84? What should be? That's a dream. And dream is the most powerful driving force in life. If you dream, there is a very good chance it will happen. If you don't dream, I can guarantee you it will not happen. Because you didn't dream. Dream is a power. So if you continue to do whatever you're doing and say this is how I will be and continue with everybody else like my parents were, like my grandparents were, that's my life, nothing will change. But you close down all the doors for changes. When you say when I'm 84, I'll be like a kid. I can do anything I want. My health will be absolutely fantastic. That's a dream. But you can make it happen. Because you focused on that subject, that my health will be, something will not change. We say our youth will remain continuous. It will not deteriorate in any way. So that's a challenge that we have to go through. What we are doing right now. What should be the world look like? What should the world be like when I'm still here? Not about when I'm gone. That's something else. That's also important to have. I lay the foundation of the world, which should be like 100 years later. If 100 years is something at that time was something the kind of deadline for them. Maybe at that time 100 years is not a deadline. half the group of people sitting here over 100. That's the way it should be. That our retirement age in many countries, including Bangladesh, our retirement age is 60 years. Meaning after 60 years, you're not good enough to work. But today people get puzzled. I'm active. 60 years is nothing. I have 30 years to go. I'm as active as ever. My thinking is clear. Not even one generation. This change has taken place in extremely adverse circumstances, not a very convenient circumstance. That's the way changes are taking place. So coming back to see what kind of world we want. And one aspect of it is the climate. At the speed that is deteriorating, what will be the world like? I was asking you about what would be my life. Now I'm asking, what will be the world like when you'll be 84? Would the world accommodate me to stay here? Or it will not have accommodation for me, I'll be done, finished. You're extending your idea that 84 it will be fine. It may not be fine. All the indications are, it won't be fine. It will be extremely difficult. Even in living in a city like Dhaka is getting more and more difficult because of the pollution that you create in the city. One city. What we have in one city in Bangladesh would be the same for the whole world maybe worse. Because we are not fixing the world to make it livable for us. So that's what brings us to COP29. What are we doing here? Are we trying to create that world for us safe? We are only talking about us, 84-year-old, at that time. What about our children? What about our grandchildren at that time? Would they look forward to live a life as long as that you have lived? Maybe not. So that's the challenge for all of us, to address that issue. Can we make it happen differently? So where do we start? We start by saying we take the responsibility, each of us, to change the question completely. We create the world that we want. We are not going to live in the world created by somebody else. So that responsibility, that I have to create the world that I want, and all of us. And only then that world will happen. And that continues in thinking, in building, in changing. And that's where the youth comes. That's where you are, youth. Youth is the peak of your creativity. That's where you are right now. Whatever you think you can translate into action, into reality. It will be difficult as you go higher and higher level of age. But today, it's possible to change the world that you want. And that's what we keep pushing the young people. That's my job everywhere. I keep telling that you are unique. Unique because no other generation at your age, remember what I'm saying, no other generation at your age was as powerful as you are. You didn't work for it. It just happened. It's like you have Aladdin's lamp on your table. You didn't bring it from anywhere. It was just there. You don't even recognize that it's Aladdin's lamp. Since you don't recognize it, you never bothered to touch it. Since you didn't touch it, genie never came out. All you needed to touch it. You didn't have to do anything. Just touch it. If you touch it, genie comes out. Genie says, what can I do for you? And ask all the impossible things you ever thought. And genie will say, okay, here it is. I'm done. And genie will happen. So that's the power you have. I gave the example or a kind of a reference to Aladdin's lamp and the genie. What I'm trying to say, you are the genie. You don't need any lamp. That's the power you have. When you have that power, when you ignore it, that's the most stupid thing to happen. I have the power, I am the genie. I never asked myself to change the whole world, which I could, but I didn't do that. So all I'm saying, be aware of your power and make use of it. Only then things will change. You have to have confidence in yourself. I am the genie. I have the power. And you are the most powerful generation in human history. Why? Because you have the technology. Children grow up with cell phones, with computers, with things, which never have happened when we were children. One generation before, two generations before, didn't have it. So sudden transformation makes it all the things happen today. What will happen when you grow up a little bit in a few years? The power is not only time not only makes you powerful, it has put you in a power path. Your capacity, your power is changing at every second because the new technology is coming. Artificial intelligence coming. Artificial is coming. And that's another story that I get very scared of artificial intelligence. I said, if artificial intelligence is doing everything, what are we supposed to do? Shall we be even functioning at all in the face of artificial intelligence? Because artificial intelligence will solve every problem. They will run machines, they will run factories, they will run businesses, you name it, they will do everything. What is the use for human beings like us? That's a danger. Say, no, don't worry, you will be needed. With artificial intelligence will be working for you. I said, that's what I used to think about technology. Technology is a tool which helps me to do things, make it easy for me. But suddenly we hear artificial intelligence, he has his own mind. I cannot decide what he wants. They decide what they want. They say, no, all the technology will be something which will be done at your behest. You decide what they want. I said, no, the technology, the way it's moving, I'm afraid it will not be only artificial intelligence, it will be autonomous intelligence. It will have its own idea of thinking. If machine starts thinking independent of human being and create its power independently, can you imagine that world in this coming? As I was giving my reference to 84 years old, in the meantime this will happen to you. The machines will be thinking faster, will be reading better, designing things better, do things better. You'll be totally useless. Should we live in this world where we become useless? No, we don't. We don't want to live like that. So what is the responsibility now? So that artificial intelligence which will take away our power. Not because they are actually taking it away, they will be superpower, I'm helpless at their power. Because they think way ahead of us. And we have no clue how to deal with them. That's artificial intelligence, or intelligence which grows by itself, without any human intervention. So this is the scenario that we have. In that, first responsibility is to protect this world, so that we can know how to live, and protect our life. So the intelligence doesn't supersede us, take us out, take ahead of us. We love technology, but that doesn't mean that I have to submit to the technology. We have to make sure technology doesn't take away our part of the role of the planet. And we don't want that thing to happen for us. So this is the challenges that are happening, and the young people have to think right now, because you are smarter than anybody else, how to design that part. If one person, just one person, in the whole world, 8 billion people, one person crosses the line, accidentally or deliberately created an intelligence which doesn't need anybody else's intelligence anymore. It develops its own intelligence. If that happens in one instance, world is finished. Nobody can deal with this guy because he knows how to proceed, how to take care of everybody else. So that's the danger. Are we aware of it? No, we are so happy about the technology. Oh, artificial intelligence is here. Artificial intelligence is here. We're excited. We're jumping around. That's fine. If it is artificial intelligence, which is controlled by human mind. If it is autonomous intelligence, which crosses the line, it doesn't need anybody's instruction anymore. It develops its own intelligence. We are done, finished. So that's the path that we are in right now, and we have to make sure not only we create our own world, we make sure we don't endanger it. Climate is one danger, massive danger. We can cope with it. But this one, technology, we can't cope with it if it happens. And we have no control over it because the way our policies are done and everything else, because they want to make money. Artificial intelligence brings money. Greed is the cause of the destruction of human civilization. Finish. As long as greed will continue, we have no peace. Because greed will supersede everybody else. And that's the danger that we feel, the economic framework that we have. We need a new kind of economic framework. I'll just mention and I'll stop. That's the economic framework which will include what we call social business. Business to solve problems, not to make money from it. And once we introduce that aspect into the economy, whole economy changes. Because we want social business, because we want to do that. Always remember, human beings are not only selfish beings, they are selfish and selfless. But economics never taught us about the selfish part. They only taught us about the selfish part. So the whole world is a selfish. All I'm saying, why don't you include in economics the selfish part of us? Then the world will be different. Then we'll go for social business to solve people's problem because we feel for it. Oh no, if you're not making money, who cares about social business? Then I had to come up with one other statement by saying, making money may be happiness. That's why everybody wants to make money, greed and so on. Making money may be happiness. Making other people happy is super happiness. That's what the social business is. It's a super happiness. Touching people's life is the most intoxicating experience you can ever have. Most intoxicating experience in touching people's life. Probably say, no, not for me. It's for you too. All you have to do it. If you do it, you can stop it. Because it brings you super happiness. So I invite you to have super happiness and safe planet. Thank you very much.
I'm Farzana Farjuno, youth advocate from UNICEF Bangladesh, and today I am tasked here to represent the youth of Bangladesh and international climate movement. It's a big task. For the last 2 days, everywhere I go, when I say I'm from Bangladesh, the first thing people ask, so how is your country? And I reply, it's settling. We have problems coming out. We are seeing change, but Dr. Yunus is fixing things, so it's settling. That's how I reply. And so when I got the mic and get to sit next to Dr. Yunus, I also have demands from this room. Obviously, he will also hear people from the room, but I try to make sure that some of the demands from the international climate movement and from Bangladeshi youth comes to you. And it started with, you already said about the greed, and we have seen greed in this space in terms of fossil fuel lobbyists. So fossil fuel lobbyists comes, sell promote their greed and sells fossil fuel, and so I would love to ask you to actually endorse fossil fuel non-proliferation treaty from Bangladesh and to help others, because you are a champion of fossil fuel non-proliferation treaty. The next thing, as a finance expert, I would really appreciate you taking the lead with Bangladesh to move for a gender-responsive climate finance mechanism, especially for the most vulnerable, and it need to be for the young people, especially when in Bangladesh the ministry doesn't get, the youth and sports ministry doesn't get much from climate finance. And finally, because this is a youth event, we from from the floor as well, we really appreciate your leadership on youth engagement and supporting youth, and it would be really awesome to see a formalized mechanism for youth in Bangladesh which can be replicated in other countries, and in your leadership that would be our ask from you. Thank you so much.
Amazing. And thank you for staying on time. That's incredible. So do you want to respond to that?
Just a couple of points. One, when we talk about Bangladesh, we used to refer to it as the poorest country in the world, etc., etc. That has changed now. But not enough of change. I keep saying that Bangladesh is the richest country in the world. When you say poor country, rich country, you're looking at how much wealth they have, how much resources they have, etc. I said, we forget Bangladesh is a country full of young people. That makes us the richest country in the world because we are the most creative part of human civilization that we have right now. The median age of Bangladesh is 27 years, meaning half the population is under 27-year-old. Can you imagine how young can you get? And that will become lower and lower. It will become 26 very soon. So the enormous capacity of changing things, challenging things, thinking new, is a gold mine, or diamond mine if you want, because these are the young people who live in Bangladesh. They have the potential of being superhuman beings, changing the whole world, not just Bangladesh. Bangladesh is a small territory. That will not be worth their time to fix it. This will be done just like that. But they will fix the whole world. Because the young people are the ones who will change this planet. Not in 100 years, in 20 years, in 50 years. That's it, maximum 50 years. This world will be completely different because of the young people, wherever they are. And while I talk about Bangladesh, I also talk about Africa. Africa is a young continent, very young population in Africa. Soon they will be the leadership role for the whole world because they have the power to change the world. So this is one that you mentioned, that the source that we have, human power, is rich in Bangladesh, in many countries in Africa. So this is where our future lies. How to make young people believe they can do anything they want. Nothing can stop them. And Bangladesh already demonstrated out of nowhere, they changed the government, made the government fall right away. They just went to the street and made it happen. It's impossible for the most powerful government that we ever had for 16 years. Collapsed. And they took over. And that's only 3 months back. And these are the young people who have been doing that. So people say, how do you do that? They don't know how they did it, but they did it. And they are strong. And these are the young people who will build a new Bangladesh. They call it the new Bangladesh. And that's what they are looking for. And they will do it. They will not give it up. They painted the walls of Dhaka city. Just painted the wishes, that what they want. It's so powerful. Each picture, they hand-drawn by young people in the neighborhood. Amazing picture. You have to be really, really super artist to do that. But they did it over time when the firing was going on in Dhaka city. Young people are not only fighting on the street, also drawing their life every day, what is happening in the Dhaka city. And then it spread throughout the whole country. You go any city in Bangladesh, you see wall paintings, wall paintings, wall paintings. Amazing emotions, amazing ambitions. They're expressing in the words, little word, 2 words, 3 words, 5 words. It's an amazing thing. That's a spontaneous power they have displayed. The whole Dhaka city should be put in a museum to demonstrate what young people can do. So that's the power represented by her and her friends who are from Bangladesh. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul. Leila Hasanova, welcome. We'll come to you at the end of the interactive session. So I've just set my alarm for 20 minutes from now. Let's take 20 minutes to ask questions. Ooh, how should we do this? Right from the back. The lady over there, please.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah?
Can you hear me? Oh, it's just for recording, okay. First, I wanted to take time to thank you for making this happen and to take time to speak about youth and also your engagement toward young people. And then the question that I have is not really a question, it's more of a ask. I think for us to be really making sure that climate action really advance, we also need to look at proceedings happening beyond COPs. And for example, Bangladesh has been one of the countries that has been really supportive of a proceeding happening at the International Court of Justice, an advisory opinion proceeding, where states will ask and will answer a question regarding to their obligation when it comes to climate change. And states will go in December in The Hague at the International Court of Justice to talk about those things. And I think it will be really important for Bangladesh to include young people within their delegation at that moment. So my ask for you will be to make sure that young people are also part of the testimonies that states will have during that time. Thank you.
Thank you. Am I audible? Assalamu alaikum. My name is Parag. I'm also from Bangladesh. Leila is also there. We have been working on ensuring meaningful youth engagement in the NDC processes for a long time now. So I want to ask you that by when we can have a formalized youth mechanism in our NDC processes, as we are going to submit our NDCs next year.
Formalized what mechanism?
Formalized youth in our
Youth
NDC
mechanism,
yeah.
okay.
As we'll be submitting our NDCs next year, we really need a formalized mechanism for youth engagement in the NDC processes and how we can work with you to ensure that we have a mechanism. Thank you.
Let's keep on coming this way. Over there.
Should I stand up?
Yeah, sure.
Hello, Professor Yunus. It's a pleasure speaking to you here. I do want to ask a question about just the power imbalances in the system. You mentioned a lot of things in terms of the power that we have, dreaming things, manifesting things. I think it's all incredible, but in a time where the SDGs are violated and just the world, I'm Palestinian, my name is Mohammed Usruf. I think it's very difficult for me to dream about such things. I think it's very difficult to even try to sort of develop such a country when it's always in a state of deep development and genocide is ongoing at the moment. What I do want to ask is that how do you think that the state of Bangladesh can support these efforts of recognizing the state of Palestine within the UNFCCC system, allowing them to sort of contribute to such discussions, be part of the financial institutions and trying to mitigate climate change within that sort of sphere, because climate change is not just about environmental devastation, but it goes beyond that. And I think the way I always think about it is how good is the environment without its people. And regarding the age, you mentioned the median age of Bangladesh, the median age of Palestine is 18, and I think we do have a large youth population, and I think our engagement has always manifested on the international level, but we do want to see those hypocrisies highlighted, and we want to see more power to the people here. So thank you for all your efforts, and carry it on.
Yeah, thank you. On behalf of the whole group of people here, we have full support for Palestine. We'll always be standing with Palestine. Don't give up. We'll never give it up. So continue on that path. Yes, indeed. Thank you. and all other issues that you raise, it's very important issues. But one thing I was emphasizing, I'll go back to it instead of answering a single question. I would say, imagine the world that you want. You don't have to write it up. You don't have to put it in an ad in the newspaper. This is what I'm imagining. Keep it in your mind. This is the world I want. This is what I want to be. Imagine for yourself, imagine for the world. And keep pushing your imagination. That this is what I want. Never give up. Stay on the path. It's not just idle imagination, active imagination. Because I want it desperately. Once you want it desperately, it will happen. If you can all join in those dreams together, it will be faster to achieve. And that's what happens. Even at the moment, it looks impossible. Always remember, nothing is impossible for human beings. Nothing is impossible. So once you agree with that, nothing is impossible for human being, you continue to think impossible. And all those impossibles will become possible because of your determination. That's all. This is the direction we have to go. Thank you. And thank you, Palestine.
Thank you. So you and then you two together, and then we'll come to you also.
Thank you, Dr. Yunus, for taking this moment to really conduct an intergenerational dialogue, for giving us the time to share our perspectives. My name is Axel, I'm from Sweden, and I have had the great pleasure of learning from another Bangladeshi mentor, the Professor Salimul Haq, who taught me in the Youth Negotiations Academy, to which I belong, that we're entering a new era where we can either shape things or where it will be bad, as you said. We're entering the era of losses and damages, as you said. And from my perspective, Bangladesh has been a pioneer in adaptation policies and in loss and damage policy. So I would want to ask you, what can my country learn from Bangladesh in terms of making sure that we're ready for this new future? Thank you.
Let's take... Oh, the gentleman behind has been asking for some time. Is it for you or for him? Okay, all right.
Yes.
And then the two ladies, okay?
Hello, Prime Minister Yunus now. So I am half French, half Bangladeshi, and one thing... Sorry, yeah. And one thing which I would like to ask on behalf of everyone here is how do you convince, how do you inspire people who don't have everyone's benefits in their minds to work in everyone's benefits? How do you inspire people who are working in the short term to end up working to everyone's and the youth and the future's benefits when what they're looking at is the very near future?
One strategy that I think I followed always, I don't argue with people that this is right and you are wrong, I'm right, those kinds of things. I listen and see how much weight in the argument the other person has, but I don't debate about it. He may be right, I don't know. So what I try to do, I go ahead and do it in a small way, as an example, what I'm saying, whether it can be done. If I'm convinced that it can be done because the results coming is good in favor of what I've been saying, then I try to expand it a little bit so that it's an accidental success which may not survive very long. So I want to make sure it's not accidental, it's real. And if it works, I'm again convinced that what I said was right. So instead of argument is good to get to the core of the issue, but always good to put it in action, make it happen, and then it starts happening. That's one that we do. And for your question that you said about Salim, let's give a big applause for Salimul Haq, a wonderful person, dedicating his life for the environment of this planet. And I'm so proud to have him as a citizen of Bangladesh who cared for the whole world. So what I have to say on that, it's not about Sweden, it's not about Bangladesh, it's not about another country. Always think this is our home. if our house is burning, it's not Bangladesh burning. It will be whole world burning. It's still our home. So it doesn't limit itself to one corner. The living room is burning. And the kitchen is okay, drawing room is okay, so something is okay. It's not okay. So it's one tiny little home that we got. If it burns, everybody gets burned. There's no way, no escape. So we learn from each other and make sure we protect our part of the planet and help you protect your part of the planet so that our home, our planet is safe from all kind of disaster that is being pushed into that direction. So that's what the lesson that we learned from that. Thank you.
First of all, thank you so much for your sharing, Dr. Yumas. And may I introduce myself? My name is Bao, and I'm from Vietnam, the southern part of Vietnam, the Mekong Delta. And I'm currently the organizer for local conference of Youth Vietnam, so working on youth participation in policy making. And I truly really love your sharing because, you know, growing up in the Mekong Delta, I have always been taught to love my own country, my own home, as if I was loving myself. And because I love my country and I love the hometown so much that I find peace whenever I advocate for my country's or my own Delta's issue. And I grew up with the Delta's farmers, and I've seen of their sufferings in the face of in the realm of climate change and also other man-made issues. And I also learned about your initiative in microfinancing. And I believe that is very critical for the people who are working on the front line and who are suffering directly from the cost, from the impacts of climate change. Standing from the point of a suffering and a suffering Delta, I feel like we have shared many similarities to Bangladesh. So in the end, how can we, as youth from a very small and humble community, but at the same time, we also have our very critical role. How can we start, working to get in touch with policymakers? And as you mentioned, not just in our country, but we need to view this as a global crisis. How do we get in touch with them? Through initiatives like COPs? What other steps? What are some of the
Okay,
tips?
how do we get in touch with policymakers? That's
Yeah,
the question. Thank you very much. The lady over there.
Just one sentence. I've learned this from Bangla. So, Ami Tomake Palawashi, if you ever from Vietnam.
Hello. It's a great honor to talk to you. My name is Nora. I'm from Sweden and Algeria. And I'm wondering about social entrepreneurship and how we as youth can advocate for more social entrepreneurship to make it beneficial to create social entrepreneurships and also to move away from GDP as a measure of seeing how successful a country is. Thank you so much.
Yeah, on Vietnam, we have been working with Vietnam on social business in Vietnam, on environmental issues. So we are involving the young people in Vietnam to focus on it. It's a small project still, but hopefully it will draw more attention of the policymakers to remove the policy barriers and making it happen. So we work together on that one. And we try to involve the young people in the countries that we are invited to come and do that. So Vietnam is one country where we just began our work as a demonstration so that they will catch up. And another one is about the example of social business. There are many examples now. One thing we try to do to explain to people, to students, we encourage universities to introduce courses on social business and some to create social business center so that there are courses, there are degrees, and my colleague, my friend, Professor Faiz is here. He's running the program in AIT, Asian Institute of Technology, which has a lot of Vietnamese students also, to spread this idea of social business. And many big companies, international global companies started social business in the beginning in collaboration with us. Like Danone became very famous because they started a social business early years. And McCain is another one which created social business. These are under traditional big companies. But there are individual people who have been doing that. And particularly some areas are very, very important for introducing social business, healthcare. If you can introduce social business healthcare, suddenly it gets a new dimension completely. It becomes so much easier. We are encouraging the pharmaceutical companies to create social business pharmaceutical companies. There are many, many items in the world which is manufactured by big companies and charge unnecessarily high prices because there's no competitor. There's monopolies, brand monopolies. So we said even that is happening in the case of medicine. Medicine which costs a penny, they'll sell you for $5 or $10, whatever they want, because it's a life-saving drug. You have to use it. No matter how much price you want, they have to pay it. So I said, that's a shame that people take advantage of people's desperation to make money for themselves. And that became very vivid during the COVID-19. When the vaccine came out, we were always insisting that that vaccine should be done as a patent-free medicine, so that there's no patent right. Patent is a way to make money out of this. This is your medicine, nobody can copy it. So you become monopolists by having a patent. So we are arguing, we had a global campaign to make sure there is no patent on vaccine for COVID-19. But it didn't succeed. It has to be a unanimous resolution by WTO. So we had mobilized, we come closer and closer, but never made it to 100% voting for the removal of the patent right. 10 countries didn't vote for it. 10 richest countries in the world didn't vote for it. Every other country has voted for it. So we didn't have it. So what happened finally? Finally, the vaccine was produced. 80% of all the vaccines produced in the world, guess where it went? To those 10 countries. Rest of the world get only the remaining little bit that they had. So they say that, oh, we give them free, we send them to free to many countries. We are not asking for free medicine. We are asking what is the legitimate price of the medicine, so that we can produce it in any country, so that it becomes cheaper and everybody can get it. So this is the kind of thing that we do. So the social business, we want to have the entire pharmaceutical business to become a social business, so that you produce medicine not for making money, but to save life of the people. So that's the direction. Young people love it. Those who take courses on social business, they think, this is a great idea. I want to create a social business myself. So suddenly the mind opens up that I can impact on people's lives, but just by doing business, but social business. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. My alarm will go off any moment now. I think we just have time for one more at the back. Yeah, right at the back, the gentleman. Can you pass it all the way back? Right at the end.
আমি অচিন্ত বলছি ইন্ডিয়া থেকে। আমার একটা কোয়েশ্চেন ছিল যে ইন্ডিয়া, ভারতবর্ষ, বাংলাদেশ, পাকিস্তান সবার একরকম সমস্যা ক্লাইমেট নিয়ে, সবার এয়ার পলিউশনের প্রবলেম আছে, বাট একসাথে আমরা কখনো আসতে পারছি না, মানে কোনো গভর্নমেন্ট একসাথে কাজ কেন করতে পারছি না। আর আমরা অ্যাজ এ যুবক কীভাবে এই গভর্নমেন্টটাকে পুশ করতে পারি যে এই ব্যাপারগুলো ক্যান বি, মানে ক্লাইমেট ডিপ্লোমেসি মোর দ্যান লাইক জাস্ট গভর্নমেন্টাল ইস্যুস, আমরা উই ক্যান রাইজ অ্যাবাউট অ্যান্ড ক্লাইমেট ডিপ্লোমেসিতে উই ক্যান কাম টুগেদার অ্যান্ড কিছু কাজ করা যায়। তো আপনার এটাতে কি?
সেখানেই হলো ইয়ুথ পাওয়ার। ভারতেও বহু সংখ্যক যুবক সম্প্রদায় আছে, তাদের ভয়েস হার্ড বাই দ্য পলিটিশিয়ানস। তোমরা এটা না করলে আমরা কিন্তু তোমাদের সঙ্গে নাই, আমরা পৃথকভাবে আসবো। এই মেসেজটা তারা তো বুঝে যায়, কারণ পলিটিশিয়ানরা ওইটাই বোঝে যে সমর্থন করলো কি করলো না। কাজে ইয়ুথরা যদি একত্র হয় একটা কোনো ইস্যুতে, দেন it transforms everything. So that's a challenge that young people have to take. And Bangladeshi youth has kind of demonstrated what they can achieve, but by just by coming together. It's not a political issue of different kinds. All students have always have different kinds of political issues, extreme right, extreme left, middle path, and so on. But on this issue, that this is the wrong government, they unified everything. And the whole country unified behind it. And the government has to go. They had no chance of surviving. So this is whatever. So youth is still IDP. Youth is a big power than you can imagine. All you need to do is to get ready. That's it. Thank you.
So now 30 seconds, just 30 seconds.
Assalamualaikum, sir. It's an honor. আমার নাম কিংবদন্তি. I wanted to maybe bring something to your attention from the side of the youth, is that from a bioscience and life sciences perspective, is that, sir, nationally we do not have enough practical facilities, be it environmental science or biochemistry, মানে medical ছাড়া যে অন্যান্য adjacent sciences আছে, we really lack proper practical facilities for working or doing anything. And even though our theoretical education is very good, we have no other option but to ultimately be a victim to brain drain and go abroad. So sir, just to bring it to your attention, if we could also have these facilities more for the youth, because 4 years in undergrad, we would rather stay in Bangladesh and be part of the ecosystem than go abroad. But it is the lack of facilities which is really leading to problems. It is also hindering us from becoming technically sound and resulting in us resorting to more rhetoric rather than technicality. So sir, just bringing that to attention, sir. Thank you.
I agree fully with you. This is the problem that we see and how to resolve it. One, the decision makers at the university level, at the government level, the people implementation level, they have to come up with opening the doors for young people to give their views, get their attention into it. And the young people also get together to persuade the decision-making authorities and so on to make things happen. So today they are under pressure of exams and so on, busy with that. And they don't have time for bringing pressure on the authorities at the university, the college level to make changes. It may not happen in one go, but if you continuously keep doing it, যেমন কোটা বিরোধী আন্দোলন কবে শুরু হলো তখন মনে হলো হাসাহাসি করে but today it's a serious business. It saves the whole country. It's just one issue, the quota system. That's all. It's a very innocent, most innocent kind of thing you can ever imagine for young people. They did it and it became explosive. So that's the power of young people. Thank you.
Luthi bhai, I think Bangladeshi voice does matter. I just have a very short question that I want to just take 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Professor Yunus, sorry to come in with you. You used a good reference at the beginning, which was become the genie, right? But in order to become the genie, Aladdin also needed to rub the lamp. And I think this is the problem that we face, where 90% of the people across the world talk about youth empowerment, how youth are inspiring, but less than 10% of the resources are allocated towards the youth, because it is in the hands of the older generation. How can you be an ambassador? How can we see that shift, where 90% of the resources are devoted towards the young people? Because the SDGs, 2030 is the deadline, time is running out. How do we shift to that?
We'll now hear from Leila Hasanova, youth climate champion for COP29 in Azerbaijan. Leila, over to you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Thank you for initiating this discussion. It's very important that we include youth voices at all the possible levels. And here, I've also heard some of the questions which I would like to comment on, if possible. So, there was a question on NDCs and the meaningful youth inclusion in NDCs. So, as you know, NDCs are nationally determined contributions and are due to be submitted very, very soon, in the very beginning of January. So what we did in Azerbaijan, and as COP29 presidency and as a COP host, it's a very unique opportunity for us to include our local young people, the young children and youth to the climate action discussions. And we hosted consultations together with UNICEF local office in Azerbaijan. And we took children and youth, we trained them on what are the NDCs and where do they see the gap on the national determined contributions of Azerbaijan. And they submitted a document, a suggestion document to the working group. And I think this is one of the key priorities was for us this year, to include young people and meaningfully their voices into the climate action here locally. And this can be a very nice and good step for other countries to also do so. And there was also a question on how the future generation can actually be in contact and be in touch with the older generation. There comes the intergenerational dialogue, which I think very, very important, and I was not really sure if this intergenerational dialogue can work unless I have been myself in that, because we take the experiences of those people who were engaged in policy making for so many years, and we cannot go blind to that because they have a huge experience sharing with us, because probably it was mostly success, and where they failed, they can tell us, so that us, the younger generation, do not fail at the same spot, so that we learn from mistakes. This is how the world actually goes on. We learn from each other, we learn from our peers, we learn from generation to generation. Now it turns out that we learn from children because we lead by their example. We want this world future to be a sustainable one, green one for all of us. Thank you for inviting me, and it was a pleasure to join you. I know we are short of time, so don't want to take much. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Leila. Round of applause, please. So we're almost coming to the end of time. The program says that I need to now make some closing comments, which makes absolutely no sense. Therefore, I'm only going to give it to Sir to make the closing comments. You won't hear from me anymore, so thank you very much. I'll hand it over to you.
Not the closing remarks, just to answer the question just asked about Bangladesh, which also applies for all the countries. There are difficulties, there are problems, and you're getting in and doing things because you're doing it for the first time. The other generation didn't know what you wanted, so they kept the doors closed for them. While I say that the difficulties, and accept the difficulties and push the door so that the door finally opens, don't give up, that's the whole idea. So when Columbus wanted to discover the path to India, he didn't have a map to go through. He had a wrong map, ended up someplace else. So, but we remember him because he did that. So, becoming somebody who get very upset because the doors are not open, the maps are not drawn, because the weather is not right, sheep is not designed the proper way, he will never do anything. The guy says, I don't need a map, I'll figure it out as I go. This sheep will go, I'll find a way, get there, my destination is there. There is no highway built for you. Please remember that. There's no highway built for you to take you to the destination. You have to walk through the jungles to create that road, create that little pathway, so that you can get to the destination. Only then, gradually, that will become the highway for everybody else. So don't be afraid for not having the road. Don't be afraid not having the door open yet. This is your chance to create a door. This is your chance to build a road. Take that advantage. You're lucky that nobody did it before.